So we have a very interesting speaker now, Dr. Habil Khorakhiwala. He is an industry stalwart. He has continued to don numerous hats in his professional life of 5 decades while keeping his scientific temper of a young learner intact. An alumnus of Purdue University and Harvard Business School, Dr. Khorakhiwala, with his mantra of vision to execute, has successfully led Wockhardt to be a major Indian pharmaceutical company that holds a strong presence in key global economies today. Amidst continuous business diversification, corporate social responsibility has remained close to his heart, for which he instituted Wockhardt Foundation committed to human welfare. Dr. Khorakhiwala has been widely acknowledged for his visionary approach in the industry and has served key positions as president of FICCI, IPA, and served in various Government of India forums. He has also, as the Chancellor of Jamia Hamdard University in New Delhi and the Chairman of Board of Governors at the Center for Organization and Development in Hyderabad, a non-profit scientific and industrial research organization and a recognized doctoral research center. He has been a member of the World Economic Forum and is an active Rotarian and member of Arc-C Clump Society of Rotary International. For one who lives such a fulfilling life, awards and accolades are no strangers, and Dr. Khorakhiwala isn't an exception. His alma mater, Purdue University, bestowed the prestigious title of Distinguished Alumnus for significant contribution to the profession of pharmacy and honored him with their highest recognition, the honorary doctorate in 2010. He is the only non-American and the first Indian in 125 years of history of pharmacy of school of the university to be awarded the honorary doctorate. He has received the Shiromani Vikas Award for his outstanding and inspiring contribution towards national development at the hands of Mother Teresa. In 2017, Dr. Khorakhiwala authored Odyssey of Courage, a book chronicling his entrepreneurial journey, and in 2018, he established the Wockhardt School of Courage, a unique mentorship program for young and budding entrepreneurs, which is based on tenets, principles, and insights drawn from the book. Dr. Khorakhiwala is still personally involved in every major scientific endeavor at Wockhardt and dreams to see India as a global leader in both healthcare manufacturing and research and development. He has also been the president of IPA, IDMA, and FICCI. I have great pleasure in introducing Dr. Habil Khorakhiwala, my one-time boss, and the keynote address today. Dr. Habil Khorakhiwala, may I now request you to give us your keynote address. Please, sir.
I know it's quite late in the day, and there is always a challenge when you are one of the last speakers after a long marathon evening. I think we have been talking since the beginning about innovation, and I thought I'll share our story because probably there is something which will be appropriate for the day. And and I'm so happy that I'm here in IDMA. I was the president more than 30 years, 40 years back. And I'm happy that drug controller is here, Dr. Rajiv Raghuvanshi, and the president, Viranchi Shah, and Bharat Shah. And Dara, who has been, I know him for more than 50 years maybe now, and fellow members of our industries. The Honorable Minister has been continuously mentioning so many things, and the research and innovation has been really focusing on from time to time. So what I would do, I don't want to be very long-winded. So I have kind of a presentation so that I don't go out of, because the research we have been doing for last 25 years, a long journey for finding a new drug. And I thought the best way would be just to share with you how this journey has taken place, how do we build the organization over the years, and what we have, where we are today, basically. I think the point fundamentally I want to highlight is research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought about the same information, same facts. And that's the fundamental of any research and innovation, that there is a lot of information, a lot of data, a lot of work which has been done everywhere. And it is the research scientist who tries to find something unique the way it has been, and that has been our story, fundamentally. Okay. And let me just tell you why we are in this antibiotic research program. Because in 90s, I think many of our, my colleagues, all of us were looking to establish drug discovery program. And we were quite a little late in starting. But what I did was I visited three, four large companies, research program like Pfizer, Sandoz, some of the Indian scientists who were working in the research in drug discovery to understand what it requires to undertake a drug research. And the thought which was there on my mind, okay, how do a small company in India with very limited resources, both in terms of financial and the capabilities, because both are very important for innovation, because you have to compete in the global space. So how do you compete? Billions of dollars are spent, you don't have any kind of that kind of resources, and scientists are worldwide there, so how do you create an organization in a competitive space? So the first thought was how you become research-wise competitive at the end of the period. And then we looked at all therapy areas, and I observed even in 90s, big pharma are vacating antibiotic research, because we saw approval trend over the last 20, 25 years, and it was declining approval. And we thought that it is one area where big pharma is not going to invest, and I may not have a competition by the time I find a new drug. The second element was that India, emerging market, even worldwide, antibiotics is a very large part of pharmaceutical business. It's about 10, 12%. And unlike many diseases like diabetes, hypertension, you have a drug or a pain, it lasts for 50, 100 years, 50, and nothing happens. Newer drugs will come, but the old drug is useful. But in case of antibiotics, there is always a resistance developed after 20, 30 years, and you need new antibiotics because the bacteria is a living body, and they develop resistance, they'll learn to survive. And therefore, the need for new antibiotics will always be there. So as a result, what has happened in the world is the resistance to multi-drug organization have mounted over the years. And today it is nearly about 5 million people die every year on this multi-drug resistance today. Just to give you the severity of problem, because it happens in small, small places, there are so many issues which are there for antibiotic resistance. During COVID period, the world lost 4 million people in 2 years. Today, we are losing 5 million people every year on multi-drug resistance. And this is a O'Neill report. He was a minister, UK minister. He was a chairman of one of the large company. I don't remember the name. He predicted that people will spend billions of dollars, and about more than the double, it will be double if proper good drugs are not available. Now, I think what we have achieved, I've just simply give the headline first and then move to the details. Yes, we have already got 6 drugs, both gram-positive and gram-negative area, because we have covered all therapeutic, all areas of AA, and we have already got 6 drugs. One got approved recently by our drug controller, that is for nephromycin, which is used for respiratory pneumonia. The other drug, we have just completed global clinical trial, that is Xenic, which is a combination of beta enhancer, which is for gram-negative. We completed global clinical trial as well as the, at the result of global clinical trial, that drug was, delta difference was that it will be classified as a superior drug. Normally you get equivalent drug. And we have also completed metallobactam resistance clinical trial, which drug controller had asked us to do. So I think this is what we have done. So if in gram-positive space, gram-negative space, all these have happened. And we have a fairly large organization working for 25 years. And I must say that we are probably today, big pharma were always there in more, but in antibiotic research, we are the only company anywhere who they right from the basics of drug discovery program to all the way to clinical trial, we have the organization. And our objective and ambition is to build the business organization in a global basis, the next. So we believe that if we can find a new drugs worldwide, why can't we do ourselves a business organization on a global basis? And we have spent $500 million in 25 years. It's a very small amount compared to what is being spent today in drug research. And most of the big pharma spends between 10 and $12 billion a year. And I don't think they get their own a drug also in a year sometime. Now, to build a drug discovery organization is a fairly complex mechanism. There are 15 independent disciplines, and you have to develop the competence, expertise, and in each of these areas, like you have microbiology, chemistry, toxicology, metabolism, clinical microbiology. Like that, there are 15 different disciplines. You have to build the competency. And I must tell you, it was not an easy task. Because why we took so long? Because the first 10 years, we spent more to build the organization step by step as some of our drug progressed. And then last 10, 15 years, most of the drugs success has come. We have screened something like 8,000 molecules, and we have got in drug discovery space alone more than 400 patents. We have done 25 phase 1 study, and we have completed 3 phase 3 studies for various drugs so far. Now, the other aspect which is important, and I thought it's worth mentioning, how did we build up a team? And I must compliment our chief scientific officer, and now he is my chief scientific mentor, and chief inventor of all these drugs. What we did there and the team did was in most of the discipline areas, because he had the experience of antibiotic research. He did not take anybody with experience. He selected the brightest people available of the university in various disciplines. And he developed and nurtured them. Over 25 years, the kind of leadership he has provided in research, we hardly have any senior people today have left the organization for 25 years. And that is very important. The other element is when you have so much multidisciplinary approach, Any one area, it has to be talked to each other, interdisciplinary. So it's a teamwork which is important. In big pharma, what you find, there are a lot of silos happening. And therefore, they don't get the optimum use of the knowledge they have. So this is the another important element of building this kind of an organization. The other aspect which I want to mention, there is so much discipline you require, some knowledge you require, and you don't have everything in a company. So our team over the years have collaborated with all these global university, individual organization, and there are more than 30 of them. That is what they participated. They also literally participated during the whole period to all international conferences on anti-infective for 25 years. And not only the leadership, we sent some of the scientists depending on those periods. So that is how the knowledge gets created. That is how you know the competitive space in research. Okay, unless it's not that it's by luck you get something. It's a competitive space you know, and therefore you design the drug which would be useful and successful. Just to tell you very briefly that we believe, and rightly so, that we are the most successful antibiotic drug discovery organization in the world. The fact remains, the numbers are given here of various companies' products in there. And all our drugs have received the US FDA fast track approval, you call it. And fast track means what? There is unmet medical need is established, and therefore the fast track. Fast track means they help in terms of reducing the clinical workload because the drug is needed urgently. And secondly, the fast approval is there, and you get extra protection in terms of intellectual property also. These are the 6 drugs which we are talking of. And first 2 we just marketed, but that was MRSA, and the differential was small. But the other drugs what you are seeing is a very, very significant in this area. We just completed nifedramycin phase 3 clinical trial and approved also the product in India. And we did phase 1, phase 2 in the US and Europe. So we thought we will go to Western countries maybe later, not now. And we will do the balanced clinical trial when it is required. The Zenic is the first drug, which is a global drug, which we have done a global clinical trial, which include the Western countries, India, China, Latin, all countries. We just completed, including phase 3 clinical trial. And these were as per the protocol, approved by US FDA and MHRA. So we have more than half a dozen meetings with FDA over a period of time at various stages of clinical development, same with the European authorities. And all aspects of clinical trial, we have followed that global protocol. And what we got a result is a 30% superiority over Mirafena in a comparative. And normally 10% plus or minus, most of the drug has equivalency they try to establish. In last 15 years, no drug has received superiority claim. Another unique feature of Zenic is that there is an institute in the US which gives a break point for antibiotics. Now, what is a break point for antibiotics? Is the concentration it is required for the drug to be effective. So normally, they have given us for all gram-negative organisms 64 as a break point. There are no drugs approved. Even last 10, 15 years, all drug approved has got a break point of up to 8. So you see the difference. And since the discovery of penicillin, 100 years ago, there has been no drug. 300 antibiotics have been approved. No drug has ever received 64 breakpoint for all their organism. And this drug is going to not only be effective, and we have completed a very large number of work on this, in the sense that drug controller here and the US FDA both, because when a drug is not approved drug, it is in a clinical trial, and if the doctor and the hospital and ethics committee of hospital wants the drug, they call it compassionate ground. Okay, because there is nothing works, a new drug not yet approved may be used because you are talking of saving lives. So I'm very happy that drug controller here, because for antibiotic every hours matter actually. How many of us know that this bacteria doubles itself every 20 minutes? So in 6 hours, if you start with 1 million bacteria in the body, it will become 1 billion. Now you go on calculating what happens if there is a delay of 1 day and 2 days and 3 days. And I'm so happy that initially, obviously process took a longer time at all stages for the first drug. But subsequently, when I wrote a note, we are dealing with life. So our drug controller are clearing drugs within 24 hours for compassionate patient. And I must compliment them for helping and supporting this kind of work. And so far, we have completed over the last 1.5 years, 45 patients. In other words, we have saved 45 lives because they were very critical patients. And 2 of them by US FDA is also cleared, and we have supplied to both the patients, one from University of California, Irvine Medical College, and another from Texas. These people were obviously on antibiotic for 4 to 6 months. Nothing was working. Finally, obviously, they read our, and we have done a lot of scientific paper. There are more than 200 publications. We have 100 publications. So drug is well known in scientific world, not in the clinical world yet. So that is the drug, and this would be not only a game changer for Wockhardt, but I think it is a game changer for dealing with resistance, multi-drug resistance organism on a global basis, where about 5 million people die. Majority die because of this purpose. So I think and it is a global trial, we hope that we are just submitting to drug controller the whole data of phase 3, phase 2, all clinical trial. And they hope that they clear the faster, the better. The people will receive these drugs here. You are talking of saving lives. And we will be filing to US, Europe sometime middle of this year. Hope to get approval early next year. So that's the part. The other 2 other drugs are there in pipeline. So in other words, what I'm trying to communicate that next 5 to 7 years, we already have drugs which will come one after another. So every couple of years, 1 or 2 years, you will have a drug. And as a result, that's, I think we intend to maintain our position to be global leaders in antibiotic research. I think I have already spoken whatever is here. Then the other drug which is just cleared, we are launching next month, maybe in March or April, is this respiratory pneumonia. And just to get you an idea, everybody knows these drugs. Azithromycin, it has 10 times potency than azithromycin. Today, azithromycin has a 40 to 50% resistance cases. And this combination of clavulanic acid, amoxicillin, doesn't work on atypical pneumonia, which is roughly 30–40%. So normally what happens? It's not, people don't die here, unlike Xenic, which will save lives. But there is a very large number of morbidity issue. Number of patient gets to be hospitalized. And then this is a drug which we have a very short treatment of 3 days, once a day, only 3 days. And it has given 97% result in a clinical trial. This is a drug which has come after nearly 30, 40 years in this area. So with this, I'll just conclude. And I hope that what we have achieved and what we can do is proves 2 or 3 things that we can do it. Second, it also proves that you don't require a very large resources. Even the Chinese in AI showed that they can do artificial intelligence at $6 million versus these guys are spending billions and billions of dollars to do the same thing. So it is possible to do it. We can do it. And we can end the aspect of innovation. If you try to really look at it, basically, that if you can build a team, have the patience, and believe that it works. One of the reasons why I went on spending for 25 years, in spite of all kind of financial challenges we had from time to time, but we have not stopped our research on drug discovery, was that I was reasonably deeply involved to understand what is happening. For last 10, 15 years when we had the clinical molecule. And our team had global KOL, that is key opinion research people in US, Europe. And they used to have 3-day meeting literally every year, every alternate years. And they were discussing details of, and they were advising what we should do. And that is where I was attending all these meetings. So I had the comfort that what we are doing, the global experts and scientists also accept that. So it's not just an isolated aspect that, you just trusted them and it happened. So that's why you can have that kind of belief and commitment, which has over the years brought what we have done. I'm sure this would be one of the proud moments for India also, and we will have been a pharmacy of the world, which everybody has been saying. Minister Piyush Goyal has been talking of innovation and research. So I think, and you have released a booklet on innovation, so I thought this is a very, very appropriate, and I hope it inspires many more people today and tomorrow, because India is on the rise. And if you need only one example to have a chain effect happening in the country. With this, I just want to conclude what the Gandhiji says, in a very gentle way, you can shake the world.